Today's news, Kris and Luhan'S settle with SM Entertainment. Agency's representatives release statement.
Maybe one of the hottest K-pop news stories of the week. Kris and Luhan have finally settled on arbitration with SM Entertainment on how they are going to go forward in the future with their contracts. Essentially, it goes like this. Luhan and Kris are still under contract with SM Entertainment, even though they are not part of EXO anymore until 2022 when their original contract expires. So everything is as it was before, except now when they perform outside of Korea and Japan. So for instance, when Kris does some sort of project in China, which by the way, he's doing lots of projects in China because I looked it up before we filmed this. They will contract out the management for Kris and Luhan in China, but then they still get a cut of the profits made from any of the projects outside Korea or Japan. So at least they don't have someone from SM Entertainment breathing down their neck, but they're still paying SM Entertainment for everything that they do until the end of 2022.
This sucks.
Well, that's what happens when you're one person, or in this case, two people, versus a huge corporation that has a lot of power and sway and probably money and resources to pay for attorneys.
Yes, SM does have probably some of the best attorneys in K-pop because not only did they just win essentially this contract settlement, but they also just recently won a contract settlement against No Min-woo, who was fighting them for not being able to perform the way he wanted to. And they've had so many other cases where different people like JYJ tried to fight them in the past, and more or less, they're still working with SM.
That I don't know about specifically, JYJ that you referenced, but yeah, it does look like SM has this repetitive behavior of signing people when they're really, really young to long-term contracts that are not very favorable for those people. And then as they become more popular, they make more money off them. And the person who signed the contract in the beginning still doesn't make a lot of money, even though 4 or 5 years later, they're super popular and earning maybe tenfold of what they were in the beginning.
Well, Kris, for example, was actually signed back in 2007 when he was 16 years old.
And when the internet was barely still developing.
And now, you know, he's stuck with them until 2022.
Is that 17, 18 years? No, it's 15 years.
Yeah.
Still really, really long time. I mean, that's probably more than half of his life.
Well, when you search SM contracts online on Google, the first thing that pops up is a slave contract. These kinds of contracts are not unusual for SM, though. When you look at other artists, particularly artists who do things overseas, like, for example, Yuna. Yuna has a 13-year contract with SM. Like, that's ridiculously long. I don't know what I'm going to do next year, let alone 13 years from now. Can you imagine signing your life away until 2022 and having to pay somebody every month?
It is sort of the price that you have to pay in order to get your name out there and to be famous or to be well known as, for instance, a singer. These are the complications of becoming well known. You either have to do it yourself, like for instance, how we do it with YouTube, and set up the camera ourselves and think of all the marketing ourselves and come up with all the video ideas ourselves and brainstorm back and forth and do everything. Or if you want some other agency that's larger and more able to promote you easily so you can focus specifically on your craft, then you have to give up part of that profit. Well, when you're 13 or 14, you're willing to do anything to get to the top because you don't even have that much life experience to begin with. And I'm not saying that these young kids, when they sign with SM, are making the right decision. This is a lot of complicated gray area in what we're talking about here, that SM isn't that much the bad guy. They should do it, for instance, like the NFL, where in the first year you'll make X amount, and if you throw this many touchdown passes, we'll double your salary the next year. It should be something more like that. If you perform this many concerts, we're gonna increase your salary by double when you're 18 years old.
And it might be. We don't know all the details
but
to the
it can't
contracts.
be like that if so many people are suing SM. It can't be like that. They're probably like, you're gonna earn X amount of dollars per year until 2022. Meanwhile, he's super popular now in 2016, but he's still only earning $450 a month like BAP. Remember that? That was crazy a couple of years ago. I mean, they're super popular. They're making $450 each per month.
Yeah,
What?
I don't know how much SM artists make, and I do imagine that it does reflect what they do. For example, I imagine Yuna actually makes more than some other people because of all of her CFs. I'm sure that she does get some commercial profits. SM does do really great promotion. They do have a lot of really popular bands out there, but do they really have to have these ridiculously long contracts? They're the only company who does it! YG is only 7 years.
Only 7 years. You guys, how do you feel about these long contracts that Korean entertainment companies put on these young K-pop idols from a very early age, and then as they get more popular, they don't get paid very well? Comments.
And would you sign such a contract?
You might. Think about it. Don't lie to yourself.
No.
Click the like button while you're down there. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more HallyuBack news. That's it. We're out of here. Hasta luego.
Bye.